Alrighty, so with so much new content in the version 2.3 Divergent universe, we're going to have to split up our guides a little bit, so let's talk curios. So the Divergent universe has a total of 88 curios, some old, some new, and some old with minor tweaks. So we'll go over all 88 since the Divergent universe has its own curio collection page, so you can use this video to compare it to your collection to see what's missing. Now, before we begin, a quick disclaimer. Much of this content was from the beta, so if I find any changes on the live version that's worth talking about, I'll have it shared in the pinned comment down below. Okay, so when it comes to curios that are existing already from the other previous versions of the simulated universe, we'll just go over them very briefly. So the first four will be the Robe of Beauty, Family Ties, Cavity Model System, and Obliteration Wick Trimmer. These are going to be exactly the same as their previous iterations. Next up, our first brand new curio, Memory Cycle, immediately obtains 2 random equations. When entering a domain, all equations are replaced with random equations. When entering a battle, obtain the effect of all equations that have not been expanded. So I've already got a very in-depth guide on what equations are and how they function in the new simulated universe, so we're not going to go too deep into this. So if you want to learn more about that, go check out that video. I'll have it linked down below. So this is a very powerful curio, and it can be won as a major prize in one of the treasure and game machines that can appear in the Divergent universe. So in order for these machines to appear in the Divergent universe, you will need to level your inspiration circuit to unlock the node Pleasant Surprise, which allows random types of treasure and game machines to appear within the simulated universe. Okay, so this next one is also another curio that can be won as a major prize in any of the new gaming machines. So this is called Plaguenest, and for every negative curio in your possession, it increases all allies' damage dealt by 30%. And then when you possess 2 or more negative curios, the boost that you gain from each negative curio becomes 40%. And then when you possess 6 or more, each boost is now 50%. So with a total of 13 negative curios in the game, you can rack up to 650% bonus damage. Okay, and now here is the third gold curio that can be obtained from a treasure machine. So it's called Reunion of Death. And what it does is that it immediately grants you 1 equation that cannot be currently expanded. So what that means is that it will give you any equation that you do not currently meet the criteria for. And then after you finish expanding a equation, it doesn't necessarily have to be the one that was just given to you. It will then immediately give you another random equation that cannot be expanded currently. And so this process will continually repeat until you gain a maximum of 5 new equations. And on top of that, for every equation that you've successfully resolved, all allies' damage will be increased by 20%. Alrighty, and now our next one, Rubert Empire Difference Machine. This curio is insanely powerful, but it is also a little bit challenging to get. So what it does is that upon obtaining this curio, and then also every time you enter a new domain, you will receive 300 cosmic fragments, 3 random blessings, and also 3 random curios. And we're not done yet. Whenever entering a battle, it also increases all allies' crit rate by 60% and crit damage by 16%. So how do we gain this beast of a curio? Well, it's not going to be easy. In order to build this curio, you need to collect all 3 of the Rubert Empire curios, 2 of which are new and 1 you already know about, the Rubert Empire Mechanical Cogwheel. The other 2 will be the Rubert Empire Mechanical Lever and the Rubert Empire Mechanical Piston. So upon gaining all 3 of these in your inventory, these 3 curios will then combine and turn into the Rubert Empire Difference Machine. It's not going to be easy because these base curios do provide you with really terrible negative effects, but we'll go over them a little bit later. Okay, so that's it for our golden curios. So now let's move on to our blue ones. So the first one is Wish Upon a Star, and this has been changed just a little bit. So with the new Divergent universe, we don't have a map like in Golden Gears or Swarm Disaster, so this has been changed a little bit so that it now greatly increases the chance of adventure domains appearing. Other than that, it remains the same. Bringing this curio into any adventure domain will cause that domain's time limit to be increased by 50%, and then you also gain an additional chest upon entering the domain. Alright, so our next one is Jellyfish on the Staircase. So this is another old curio with a facelift. So because in the Divergent universe there's no such thing as die rolling, this curio has been updated so that it now causes you to lose all your blessings, but instead obtain cosmic fragments based on the sum of the stars of the blessings lost. So you get 150 cosmic fragments for every star value of your total blessings lost. Okay, so here is the Spirit of Knights of Beauty. So this Tooth Curio used to give you more rerolls in Golden Gears, but since rerolls are no longer a thing in the Divergent universe, it now lets you obtain one random equation after obtaining the Curio. Likewise, we have the Pinch of Bearded Gunpowder, which in the previous versions gave you one new cheat. This time, however, it now grants you one random weighted Curio. And weighted Curios are these new super powerful Curios that grant amazing bonuses based on character paths and elements. These weighted Curios are usually obtained after beating the elites throughout the simulated universe, and we'll have a section where we go over them later in the video. So the next couple of Curios are going to be exactly the same as their previous iterations, so we'll just scroll through them quickly so that you can make a note of it. So these Curios are going to be the Dimension Reduction Dice, Fortune Glue, Gold Coin of Discord, Shining Trapezohedron Die, Sealing Wax of Preservation, Elation, The Hunt, Destruction, Remembrance, Nihility, Abundance, Propagation, and Erudition, the Shattering Star Bait, Star Time Prism, Cosmic Big Lotto, Silver Coin of Discord, Interastral Big Lotto, Typical Genius Society Gossip, Fool's Mask, Illusory Automaton, Man-Made Meteorite, Rationalities 4, and finally A-Ruan Pouch. Okay, so now let's go over the three new blue Curios. So the first one is Punklordian Regards. And what this one does is that when entering any battle, the ally positioned first in the team lineup has their speed increased by 40%, and then the ally positioned last has their speed decreased by 40%. So the first position is the character placed on the far left, and the last position is the character placed on the far right. Next up, we've got Joyous Incense. So this one gives us two random equations. However, when entering any battle in a boss domain, all enemies' health and attack is increased by 10% for every inactive equation that you have on you. And now finally, we have the Talow Cards. So this one is pretty unique. It can only be found in the Fortune Teller occurrence, and what it does is dependent on what you pick during that occurrence. So there are a couple of different buffs and debuffs. So the occurrence has three categories: fragments, combat, or blessings and curios. If you pick fragments, there are four possible results: increased fragment gains by 50% for 4 domains, increased by 100% for 3 domains, or increased by 200% for 2 domains. And for the negative result, reduce fragment gains by 30% for 3 domains. Over on the combat side, you have these 4 options: delay the enemy by 200% for the next 3 battles, increase all ally speed for 30% for the next 3 battles. Upon entering battle and being attacked, heal 15% of your max HP for the next 3 battles, or for the negative result, lose 10 energy upon entering the battle and also lose 10 energy every time you get attacked for the next 3 battles. Then finally, for the blessing and curio options, you have the 3 positive options of gain 1 random blessing after winning a battle up to 2 times. Your second option, which is whenever you enter a domain of the same type in a row, gain a random blessing up to 3 times. And thirdly, after expanding an equation, gain 2 random curios up to 2 times. And then for the negative option, lose 2 random curios after entering 3 domains. Okay, so that's it for our blue curios. So now let's look at our white curios. The first 5 are exactly the same. These are the Whooping Compound Eye, Fruit of the Alien Tree, Casket of Inaccuracy, Ambergris Cheese, and the Parchment That Always Eats. The first white updated curio will be the Doctor's Robe. So because this mode no longer has path resonances, the Doctor's Robe has been updated so that it now states that when entering a battle, if the 3-star equation has already been expanded, then all allies regenerate energy equal to 100% of their max energy and increase all damage dealt by 25%. The next curio is the Society Ticket, which remains the same. The Faith Bond curio is pretty much the same. It does receive updated wording so that it does match the new wording that is used in the Divergent universe. So it now states that cosmic fragments required for blessing overriding, equation overriding, and for reviving down characters is reduced by 30%. Now the next couple of curios are exactly the same. These curios are the Void Wick Trimmer, Record from Beyond the Sky, Entropic Die, Insect Web, Angel Type I.O.U Dispenser, Laurel Crown of Planar Shifts, Omniscient Capsule, Black Hole Trap, and the Tonic of Efficacious Chaos. Okay, and now our next 3 curios are from the Rubert Empire series that we spoke about earlier. You will need all 3 of these curios in your inventory in order for them to form the Rubert Empire Difference Machine. So the first one we all know about, it is the Rubert Empire Mechanical Cogwheel, and this lets you gain 50 cosmic fragments every time you enter a domain, but once your total fragment amount reaches or exceeds 750, this curio and all fragments that you currently possess will be lost. It is important to note though, although it says that the curio will be lost, it does in fact remain in your inventory, it will just be destroyed. Thankfully for us, all destroyed Rubert Empire curios will still count towards the combination for the difference machine. Next up, we've got the Rubert Empire Mechanical Lever. So this one follows the same vein. First, you gain one random blessing that is needed for any equation that you currently own, but you will then also discard one random blessing that is unneeded by any equation. This happens every time you enter a domain. However, if you don't have any blessings that can be discarded in this way, this curio will be destroyed. And so just like the other curio, having a destroyed version of this in your inventory will still count towards the gold blessing. And then thirdly, the Rubert Empire Mechanical Piston. So this one grants you 2 random curios when you pick it up. However, you will discard 1 random curio every time you enter a domain. If it so happens that one of the curios that you discard is the Rubert Empire Mechanical Pistol, then you instead lose all curios. So because of this, for the best scenario to occur, you would ideally get the piston as your last curio for the combo. Okay, so now our next 6 curios are pretty much the same. There are some minor wording differences in that curios that affect transaction domains now have their wording updated to state market domains instead of transaction. So the first one is Vile Mechanical Satellite. Then we've got the Thalan Toxi-Flame, the Pinkest Collision, Price of Peace, and Mysterious Magnetism. Okay, and then now our next one, Organic Heart, gets a total redesign in the Divergent universe. It now grants you 5,000 challenge points during excessive conversion, but at the same time it does increase the damage that all characters take by 15%. So what excessive conversion is in the Divergent universe is that after every elite boss that you fight, you now play in a little minigame in which enemies appear and you must deal as much damage to these enemies as you can before the turn timer runs out. Depending on the score that you gain from this mode, you either get 0 to 3 chests as a bonus. The score thresholds for this mode is 5,000, 10,000 and 15,000. So with this curio in your inventory, you will be guaranteed 5,000 points, nabbing you 1 chest and making it a little bit easier to get the 2 and 3 chest option. Now we've got some new curios to talk about. Firstly, we have the Self-Conciousness Relaxation. So this one forces you into auto battle and you cannot turn it off, but the damage that all allies deal is increased by 30%, and the max damage that you can deal is also increased by 30%. Next up, we've got the Shatterbone Blade. So in the first and second plane, the damage that you receive by all allies is increased by 20%, and in the third plane, damage received by all allies is reduced by 20%. So it makes your first and second planes a little bit harder, but in return, the third plane becomes much easier. Next up, we've got Temporary Stake. So this one immediately grants you 300 cosmic fragments, and then after entering a total of 4 domains, this curio will then be destroyed and 600 cosmic fragments will be lost. So the idea here is that within 4 domains, you want to be spending all of your cosmic fragments. Next up, we've got Struggling Color. So this one states that when entering this domain, it increases the chance for treasures to appear and ensures that a Chaos Medicine box will appear. So this one is a special treasure box that generates a unique occurrence, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the next one is Celesticomet Alloy, and it states that when obtaining this curio, immediately obtain the curios Celesticomet Alloy Type 1, 2, and 3. So these curios don't actually do anything, but they just sit in your inventory and count as a curio. So effectively, it counts as 4 additional curios in your inventory. And then our last 2 curios are just exactly the same as previous iterations. We've got the Punklorde Mentality and the Beacon Coloring Paste. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's go over our negative curios. So not much has changed here other than the background colors of these curios. They're now bright blood red, which makes them a lot more ominous. But other than that, no real major changes here. So we've got our Divination Cuckoo Clock, Black Forest Cuckoo Clock, Perpetual Motion Clock, IPC Clock, Mechanical Clock, Broken Cuckoo Clock, Fissured Cuckoo Clock. Other than the clocks, we've got the Cognita Invalidator, Cognita Averagifier, Revelous Rainbow Maker, and Wild Minder Machine Cell. Now, over on the new negative curios, we've got the Talot Doll. So this one makes it so that upon entering a battle, there is a 50% chance to select the wrong target when any ally uses their ability on enemy targets. And after 4 battles, this curio is destroyed. And then for our final negative curio, Absolute Failure Prescription. So for this curio to appear, there's a couple of things that you do need to prepare. Firstly, you need to unlock the Pleasant Surprise node in your Inspiration Circuit. This is the node that allows treasures and gambling machines to appear inside the Divergent universe. After you've unlocked this, there is a small chance that the Chaos Medicine box will appear as a treasure chest inside any domain. This chest looks like a large blue chest, except that it's covered in a dark red mist. And when you interact with it, you'll get an option to spend between 100 and 500 cosmic fragments at random in order to open it. If you do, you'll be able to get 3 random curios. Within these 3 random curios, there is a small chance that you'll get the Absolute Failure Prescription. So as you can see here, the description for this curio is that in order to halt the continuation of war, prescriptions will be tailored to induce varying degrees of hallucinations and disruptions based on the patient's etiology. So, what this means is that when you receive this curio, it will have 1 out of 8 effects at random. So these effects are: advance all enemies by 100% whenever you enter a battle, 150% base chance to freeze all allies whenever you enter a battle, 150 base chance to apply bleed on all allies for 20% of your max HP for 5 turns when you enter a battle. When allies are attacked for the first time each battle, they lose HP equal to 50% of their current HP. Lose 50% of your current HP to all allies whenever you enter a battle. Gain 99% damage debuff for 1 turn when entering a battle. Gain 100% debuff to your weakness break efficiency for 1 turn whenever entering a battle. Or lastly, lose all SP and energy whenever you enter a battle. So that's all the curios within the new Divergent universe. Like I said earlier, if there's any changes between beta and live versions, I will put it down in the pinned comment, so check down there before you go.